Hi everyone, so I'm back after the month break, so we should get to some more regular uploads for December. Not as regular as they was, but a little bit more regular. So we're starting off with the November reading wrap up. So I read 10 books in November between injury and other things. So we are at a little bit of a different angle, as it's the iPad which I film on is charging at the same time as I'm filming. So I think we all know how the reading wrap-ups work on this channel. Goodreads on my phone. Got a slight sneak peek of what I've been reading. I read Kindle, audio, physically, read through all three. Audios take me a while, so they may pop up, they may not. Yeah, so there's 10 books here to review. So I'm gonna scroll down to the first one. So the first one I read was The Marlowe Murder Club by Robin Thorogood. I will potentially butcher authors' names. So this is the first in a thriller Agatha Christie cozy mystery series. So this starts with a 77-year-old who lives in a faded mansion, and she does crosswords and then drinks whiskey. She's unmarried. She swims in the Thames naked. Yes, naked. I was a bit of a shock, to be quite honest. And she witnesses a brutal murder. And then she begins to investigate it, while the police are also investigating it. Kind of like a she sticks her nose in kind of vibe with this. I gave this 4 stars. Better if I hold my phone, really. So it's a very cozy Agatha Christie kind of vibe. Very well written. Each twist, each turn was gave off a lot of shock value. It was actually quite hard to figure out who committed the murder. I find a lot of things with thrillers, I find I'm able to figure it out before they figure it out. But with this I couldn't at all. Every suspect had like alibis. Spoiler alert. Every suspect had an alibi. So you couldn't like say, oh, they did it, they did this. You couldn't do that. But yet there was odd connections to each person that was murdered, because it was a serial killer kind of murder. So I would definitely recommend this. So yeah. Alright, next one. Yeah. So this next one, I'm not going to give a review on. That'll come in a later video. So you've seen this kind of thing pop up a few times. So this is Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger, yeah. I've seen people pronounce that weird ways. So this is a it's actually set at Christmas time, though I read this in early November. Say what you will. It's about a young man called, I keep doing this and I can't see. Either I should put my glasses on or I should hold the phone. One way or another. It's about a young man called Holden Caulfield who gets expelled from school. So he leaves, he pinballs around New York. He seeks solace in fleeting encounters, shooting the ball, he strangles with strangers, he dives hotels, he wanders alone around Central Park, he gets beat up, you name it, it happens. I give this 4 stars. That's what I am going to tell you about this. A full review will be coming up in a video once I've read 2 more books. I am 35% of the way through one. I think it's 35% or nearly 35% of the way through one. Then I will start the other one. So maybe by the end of the year, a full review will come for the books I've been mentioning like this. Then the next one I read on my Kindle, The Lost Bookshop by Evie Woods and Evie Gowagan. I'm just going to sit with Evie Woods. So this is set in Dublin in a bookshop that's waiting to be found. So Opaline, Martha and Henry are basically side characters in their own lives kind of thing. So it's unsuspecting strangers that discover a bookshop hidden in a mansion. And it's split between these kind of... It goes like jumps back to past and present kind of thing. I gave this 3 stars because the premise was good but was executed terribly. It was very simplistically written. There was underdeveloped characters and the magic realism was minute. There was what it was supposed to be, it wasn't, kind of thing. So I was quite disappointed considering it is billed up to be quite a good book. So yeah, that one didn't go too well. Another Kindle read was The Inmate by Frida McFadden. So this is another thriller featuring Brooke Sullivan, who is a nurse practitioner at a male's maximum security prison. So, and she ends up becoming friendly with this inmate, an inmate she already knows and has a past connection with. But no one knows she has this past connection with. And it's kind of twisty, very twisty. So I gave this one 4 stars. This is the second Frida McFadden book I have read. There's a lot of twists and turns. You didn't really know which character to trust and if you could trust any of them. I was suspicious of every single one of them, including Brooke Sullivan. It was just a bit cliche though, which is what let it down from being a 5-star. That was the only trouble. It had a lot of cliches in it. Next one is a book called In Rude Health by Robbie Guillory. So this is about... It's basically curates funny stories told by doctors within the NHS. And it was quite funny. So I gave this 4 stars. So each short story is about a page long, minimum 2 pages. There's quite a lot of humour within each and every single short story, though some are a bit more forgettable than others. There's a lot of weirdness that doctors see quite a lot within this book. It's a nice, fast-paced read, read it in a day kind of thing. Next one, If We Were Villains by ML Rio. So this is I want to say mystery dark academia, literary thriller, it says on the back. So Oliver Marks has basically served 10 years for a murder he may or may have not committed, and on the day of his release he's greeted by the detective that puts him in prison. And the detective is actually retiring and really wants to know what actually happened. So, as a young actor at an elite conservatory, Oliver noticed that his talented classmates seemed to play the same characters on and off stage. Villain, hero, temptress. Though he was always a supporting role, but when the teachers changed the casting, a good-natured rivalry turned ugly, and the play spills dangerously into real life. And tragedy strikes, basically. One of the 7 friends is found dead. The rest face the great acting challenge, yet convincing the police that they are blameless. And this is a 3-star. Presetting this review, I love Shakespeare. I do. I love Shakespeare. So that has got nothing to do with this review. So it's not in the sense, it's not the play theatre aspect of this I didn't like. I was actually disappointed in it. The plot just had so much potential and it didn't execute it. I wanted to love this. I wanted to like this. I wanted this to be a 5-star. I wanted this to be a favourite. The jump between the prologues and the main story were just slightly off-putting. It's a decade. I get the prologues are supposed to... The prologues in Shakespeare ruin the ending. It's natural. The prologue of Romeo and Juliet ruins the ending of Romeo and Juliet. It's 2 star-crossed lovers. Literally, it ruins the ending. But knowing he, spoiler alert, knowing he went to jail, knowing Oliver Marks went to jail for something he didn't do, and then that character that did the murder committed suicide over doing the murder instead of going to jail, just annoyed me. Like, there was no justice in it. There was no justice at the end of the story. It should have been written as an entire play, not as a half and half style. And that is literally all I'm going to say about that. And that book's being on hold. It's going. I want it out my sight. It's disappearing. The 3 stars are because it is written like Shakespeare. That is it. I just had to rant about that. Next one was a Kindle book, and I DNF'd this. Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent. Me and Carissa Broadbent clearly don't get along. Serpent and the Wings of Night was fine. I loved it. But after that, clearly we're not doing very well. 1 star. So this is about a former slave fighting for justice, a reclusive warrior that no longer believes it exists, and a dark magic that entangles their fates. Basically it. I DNF'd this at 30% on my Kindle. This was awful. I just could not care at all about these characters. Didn't care. They could have lived, they could have died, I don't care. There was no emotional connection, no emotional draw to them at all. Thought they were annoying. They annoyed the living hell out of me. And the enunciation of words that people should know how to pronounce annoyed me. Like, I get the main character doesn't know how to pronounce them. But do we need to watch her learn how to pronounce them? No, we don't. We don't need that. It just made the character more unlikable for me. So I am going to shut up about that. It Takes Two by Kathy Newman. The history of the couples that dare to be different. We are not doing well. This is 3 stars. And this is non-fiction. There's not really much I can actually give you a synopsis for, other than the title. I did like this to an extent. the brief accounts though of each couple made the central point or points of the actual book just lack. There was no investment. Like, once you'd become invested in learning about said couple, she moved on to the next one. And then she just jumped from couple to couple. So it was like, it became pointless to get invested in each couple. Because you knew as soon as you did that, you were just going to end up in another one. And actually, they become lost and entwined with each other. So only a very select few of these couples actually ever stood out. So that's another unhaul, because it just didn't work. Another Kindle. We're nearly at the end. How My Neighbour Stole Christmas by Megan Quinn. We're getting into the Christmas season with books, and then we go right back to spooky season, apparently. So, okay, this is not the right synopsis. Alright, let me try and sum this up for you, because Goodreads have got the wrong synopsis. So, it's about these two characters. We've got Story and Cole. Cole is like the Grinch. Story's like Cindy Lou, I suppose. But she initially didn't like the fact that she was heading to this Christmas town kind of thing to help her grandmother who had broken her hip. And she ends up entering this Christmas competition. Now, initially, Cole is not in the competition, but then he enters to kind of get back at Story. And it's like a whole enemies to lovers kind of romance. But I gave this 5 stars. The Grinch is one of my favourite Christmas films. I haven't watched it yet this year. I always wait till nearer to Christmas to watch The Grinch. But it is one of my favourite Christmas films. I need a Grinch onesie. I'm wearing my Stitch one today, but I need a Grinch onesie. So the rhyming and the narrator involvement very much reminded me of the Grinch film. Like, it kept rhyming and I couldn't stop laughing. And the romance is fun. And there's a lot of tension between them as well. It just worked as a romance. I don't often give romances 5 stars, but this one, perfect. Though there is a candy cane scene I will warn you about, a very spicy candy cane scene, and if you read it, you will never look at a candy cane the same way again. I don't even eat candy canes, but I cannot look at one the same way. Like, we have candy canes on our tree, like plastic ones for decoration. I can't look at it right. I'm not going to be able to look at that with a straight face. Because I'm just got to be thinking of that scene. You have been warned. But it is a really good book. I do recommend it. The last one. Bride by Ali Hazelwood. So this is where we meet Misery Lark, the only daughter of the most powerful vampire. She spells vampire weird. Look at it. I don't even know if you can see that. There you go. I don't often see vampire spelled like that. And anyway, so this is about Misery Lark and Low Moreland. Bit of a weird name. So it's a vampire werewolf romance. It's if Bella ended up with Jacob. And I gave this 4 stars. It's on the Goodreads Choice Awards for this year, actually. That's why I read it. It had good vibes. And a good environment, actually. It was very gothic. Oh, put gothic vibes. Can't even read what I put. It was creative, mesmerising. It was all of that. I read this in 4 days. Yeah, 4 days I read this in. Romances don't usually take me that long, though. Oh, yeah. That's why. But it was very reminiscent of Twilight, and I love Twilight. Very fast-paced plot, but slow burn romance, if you get my drift. I don't know whether anyone gets that. So the plot... See, I don't want to spoil it. How do I say it without spoiling it? Can't, can I? The plot between, like, the peacekeeping plot, the alliance plot, we'll put it that way, is fast-paced. But the romance between Lo and Misery is slow burn. And it also has a marriage of convenience, which I'm not usually keen on, but I actually quite liked it in this. And Misery is just very sarcastic, and that just gave us so much character. So yeah, I like this. I've not met an Ali Hazelwood book I haven't liked. And that's because I've only read 2. So yeah. So 3 unhauls, because I don't keep my thrillers. 2 keeps. And I am going to pick up a physical copy of How My Neighbour Stole Christmas at some point. That is literally all the books I read in November. I am currently reading Mountains Beyond Mountains by Tracy Kidder as my physical book. See, this is why I should do this before I close the app. The Book of Azrael by Amber V. Nicole as my Kindle. And I am still reading It Girl by Ruth Ware as my audiobook. It is slow. 1 chapter is 5 hours long. It's going slow. I don't expect It Girl to be done till February next year. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time. Bye.